The first time I met Greg was when I applied for a job. Actually, that's not true. The first time I met Greg was one night we were all out drinking at McNiven's, I think.
I had heard that there was a guy that was doing California-style Japanese food, is kind of how it was described to me, in Broad Ripple. And I just remember meeting Greg, and I don't know, I was probably young and naive, but I just kind of was like, this is the guy. Like, you know, he was wearing a t-shirt, probably a fucking Black Sabbath t-shirt, and I kind of walked in to meet him, and you know, instantly kind of like puffed my chest out a little bit, like, oh, I'm probably as good as this dude, you know, like, whatever.
I thought he was kind of an asshole.
With NUVO's Cultural Vision Awards, our goal is to highlight and celebrate the visionaries around our city who, through their hard work and effort, have pushed our community and our city and our culture further. The first name that came to my mind was Greg Hardesty. I felt like for the over 2 decades of work that Greg had put into this city before announcing his retirement this year, I felt like he deserved to be credited for it.
I think more than anything, any other chef that I've worked for, Greg's just love and passion for just raw ingredients is something that I feel really privileged to have carried on from there. Whether it's cherry tomato or a nice piece of wild salmon, I think Greg really taught me over those 5 years that there's a lot of things you can do badly to that perfect ingredient, and just trying to do as few necessary things to it.
I think Greg taught me how to be a chef. I think Greg taught me like what actually being a chef meant, and that it's more than just the ability to cook. Anyone can cook, but it's about being creative and about driving yourself. Greg drives himself very, very sort of continuously, and I learned that from him. That basically, if you're not constantly creating, if you are not constantly pushing yourself, you're basically just going to fall into the ether. Your career depends on your ability to constantly be pushing yourself.
Once I started speaking with the people who worked with him, people like Jonathan Brooks, who is the head chef and owner of Milktooth and the upcoming Beholder, Abby Maris, who is the head chef over at Bluebeard, Eli Laidlaw, who is at Plat 99 and was at Nourish while it was open, and also Neil Brown, who is the owner and operator and chef at Stella, Pizzology, Libertine, and at Ukiyo, which is upcoming. What I've come to realize is that Greg's greatest gift to this city was the people who came out of his kitchen, the people who he took under his wing, trained, and then pushed out.
To me, more than any other Indiana chef, if you look at people that have worked for Greg, almost everyone that's passed through his kitchen is doing something on their own right now. I think he cultivated a serious mindset within the people that worked for him, a confident mindset, and obviously has been really supportive of people that has passed through his kitchen to go on and do their own thing.
If there were going to be a documentary made on Greg Hardesty and how he sort of impacted the food landscape, I would wager to say that he's had the greatest impact of any of the chefs that came before him and likely after.
And you know, I couldn't be where I'm at without him for sure. I've made a lot of really important connections through Greg that I'm really grateful for.
Greg doesn't know this, but Greg is an incredible teacher. He would say that he's not a good teacher. I know he would, but he's incredibly good in the sense that he doesn't know that he's teaching. So he's not preachy. He's not fucking like giving lessons all the time. He's more just spending time alongside you and tasting everything you do and correcting everything you do. And I think there's really something to that. I think that's really how the great chefs teach other great chefs.
I realized that my initial thoughts of Greg were minuscule to the impact that he actually had on this city. And I think as time goes, we will start to see even more just the impact and the importance that Greg Hardesty played in Indianapolis and our culinary world.
One of my favorite parts about when I worked with Greg at recess was after hours, him and I would just sit in the basement and you know, he would let me collaborate on the menu with him or let me think that I was helping collaborate on the menu sometimes. And just going back and forth on ideas about food, starting with a fish that we got in or some beautiful cherries or some greens. That was a lot of fun.
I guess we all just owe Greg a huge thank you. I know that I don't think I would be the chef that I am today if it weren't for Greg. And I think I don't think Indianapolis would be the food scene that it is today without Greg. And so I think everyone really owes Greg a debt of gratitude. I think that he is truly one of the godfathers of sort of our city's cuisine.
What's up, Greg? I bet you're super uncomfortable right now. It's almost over. I love you. Thank you for all that you've done for me and for Indianapolis. You're definitely one of my culinary heroes.
Zesco is a local, family-owned food service equipment distributor specializing in kitchen design, bar and restaurant equipment, small wares, and more. For over 45 years, Zesco has been a proud supporter of Indy's independent restaurants and bars.